Good evening, everybody. I'm going to be alone on the show tonight. Pam Roth is in the hospital. She had another episode with her gallbladder. She's okay. She spoke to me from the hospital, but she doesn't want to do the show from the hospital. No, that's not it. Coincidentally, I got a new computer, and my computer guy was in the hospital helping me with the computer remotely. We have a very interesting guest tonight. He's going to be incognito because some of the things he's going to be telling us could get himself in a little warm water, okay? But everybody's talking about this Ukraine war. Hey, Mike, how are you? How are you tonight? And Lou Falzone, hey, how you doing? So we like comments. We have comments, and our guest will try to even answer them too if he can. We have a very interesting show tonight. We have to talk about the Ukraine, but there's a lot of interesting side issues with this Ukraine conflict. Now, the United Nations doesn't want to call it a war. And the United Nations is doing diddly squat with this whole thing. They're not doing anything, okay? They are the globalists, and we're going to talk about them too. But most importantly, the Ukrainian people are taking a shellacking. There's no two ways about it. Innocent people are dying. Women, they just bombed a hospital with pregnant women. I don't think anybody died, but there was a lot of injuries. We have a very situation. Now, we're on the edge of World War III. I had a comment today from somebody on Facebook that said, no, we're already in World War III, in a matter of speaking. But our guest is going to explain more in detail. Eddie Gazzetti, how are you? Have a great show. Thank you, buddy. My feeling is, and I hope our guest agrees with it or not. We don't have to always agree with everything. I don't think Putin wants World War III because he's trying to scramble up the USSR. He wants the old Soviet Republic. That's his goal in life. I think since he became president, he was the head of the KGB. So he's a nasty, nasty, evil person because you don't become a head of the KGB by being a nice guy, okay? Putin is an evil genius, okay? I think he underestimated the Ukrainian resolve. I mean, the Ukrainians are fighting tooth and nail. I mean, unbelievable. But as our guest is going to tell you, they could have prepared a little better sooner than wait to what happened now. I'm not going to get into Joe Biden. I don't want to make this political, even though it's somewhat political. Elaine, how are you? Miss Elaine Resnick. What we have here is Putin sensed weakness in Biden. From Afghanistan to the southern border, to the economy, to inflation, everything that could go wrong in 1 year could go wrong with Biden. Okay, I don't know if he did it on purpose or he's incompetent or he's listening to his handlers. I think his handlers are telling him what to do, and they're all leftist, Marxist, and they want to destroy this country because what they want cannot be done in such a quick time. They have to do it over a period of time. And they're so anxious because they're in power. The Democrats are in power. They said, let's do it now. Let's get it done now. But what's going to happen is it's going to have to undo some of it. And some of it won't be able to be undone. We have tenuous times right now. People are worried about World War III. People are worried about how we're going to deal with NATO and with Putin. And what I'm worried about is that Poland wants to give 29 MiG jets to the Ukrainians. And I think that's a good idea because they could use it. Now, the Ukrainians have been fighting the Russians have the air superiority, but they've been shooting them down. They have the missiles. They have the Stinger missiles and the other kinds of missiles that are very effective. But it'd be nice if they had some jets out there, fighting fighting a good fight. We are going to have our guests come on in a little while, but I would like people to comment I think everybody's got something to say about this, and it's just terrible watching women banged up from bombardment, walking with their kids. They're crying. It breaks my heart. Breaks my heart. I have to turn off the news because it's just too much. It's just too much. I think I'm a pretty tough guy, but when it comes to that, I'm a pussycat. I get too emotional, and I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing. Yeah, but I don't think Putin ever gets emotional. He has no emotion. He's one trick pony. Bring back Soviet. Now, there's been talk about Putin being sick, that he might have terminal illness. I don't know if it's wishful thinking or it's true, but if it is true, at his age, I don't know exact age. Anybody knows his exact age? Please chime in here. I would think he's in his mid 70s. So he's saying, well, I'm getting older. I want this USSR. I want this back. And he waited till Trump is out, because with Trump there, he knows Trump got balls. Trump would do what he has to do, the opposite of Biden. And as soon as Biden got in, he knew that he was going to walk all over Ukraine. And I want to bring our guest in this because I think I talked enough. I talked too much anyway. Oh, 69 years old. Okay, he's all right. He's not that old. Okay, but still, the fact remains he wants to go after these other countries. He'll probably go after Moldova because they're not aligned with the European Union. They're not aligned with NATO. We need a Brutus here. We need someone to assassinate Putin. He's got too many guards around him. Ellen, he's got. I heard he's got something like 300 or 3,000 guards around him all the time because he knows someone's going to whack him. Now, the other problem he has is that he has generals. A couple of his generals actually got killed in Ukraine. That's very unusual, and I think our guest tonight will tell us. So let's bring our guest tonight. We're going to call him Mr. Robert. Okay, Anthony, please bring our guest on.
Hey, Vince. Good to see you.
Thank you for coming on incognito. I'm sure you have a lot to say, so I'm going to shut my mouth.
Let me just say I agree with a lot of what you said. And I don't want anything here. And I'm going to tell you the raw truth as I believe it and know it. I am no fan of Mr. Putin. At all. I'm not going to apologize for him. He's a piece of shit, as far as I'm concerned. But before we start, I want you all to go get your Russian vodka and bring it out and drink it all immediately. Don't pour it out. You already paid for it.
Yeah,
He's got the money. And if you do that, I think it'll be easier for you to understand some of the things I'm gonna bring up here. What we have here is two mad dogs fighting. We got a black one and we got a brown one. And who do you vote for? Who do you root for? Who in the stands you stand up and yell, yeah, go? Answer to that is easy. The one you have your money on. These are both sides of this conflict are at fault. And I just want to absolutely say America has no dog in this fight. I am heartbroken for the Ukrainian population who's being killed and maimed. This is disgusting. But the fight itself is between these two countries, and it's really between globalism and nationalism. Do you know what globalism is? Let me give you the definition. It's an attitude or policy of placing the interests of the entire world above those of individual nations. Simply put, the globalist movement is an alliance based on the self-interest of private international financiers, royals, dynastic folks, landowners, the families of Europe and Britain, and America, which over the years they've intermarried. They've created a self-regenerating power structure through lies and deception, and they want to control everything on Earth, with them as the boss. Over time, they've extended the network of control to include elites from countries all over the world working towards the same end. So, how would you like the UN to be running the United States, telling you what to believe, what you can say, what you can't say? No, not good. Nationalism. Well, nationalism is not a bad thing. It's a devotion to the interests, the culture of the participating of the people in the participating state. The belief that nations will benefit from acting independently rather than collectively, and emphasizing the national rather than international goals. And that the belief that a particular culture or ethnic group constitutes a distinct people deserving of political self-determinism. Okay, those are the textbook definitions. And what we're seeing here is not about Zelensky, and it's not about Putin. It's about nationalism versus globalism. And behind this curtain, the guy that's pulling the puppet strings is Soros. Now, I say that Soros may just be the front man. There may be people back there that we don't even know about. But their goal is a global government to control everything. I have no dog in this fight. Neither does America. Okay? This is something that we should just stay clear of. There is nothing we can do. Let us not put troops on the ground. Let's not put American lives at risk. Let's not put the American Treasury at risk getting involved in this fight. This is not going to turn into any kind of World War III. Putin, as Vinny said, Putin, there is nothing in it for Putin to turn this into a world war and get Europe involved. He doesn't want NATO involved. What he wants is his old USSR back. Okay? Trump successfully deterred the Russians from acting against Ukraine. He effectively deterred them and deterred a lot of bad behavior across the planet. A recent poll, 62% of Americans believe that Russia would not have invaded Ukraine if Donald Trump were in the Oval Office.
I have to agree with that.
Okay, he never would have done it. His success in not getting us into any wars and pulling us out of one, and I'll tell you the truth, I kind of disagreed with him on the Afghanistan pullout, but that's another issue. He rebuilt our military. He crusaded heavily for American energy dominance. We were an energy exporting country. By launching his surgical strikes in Syria in 2017, he gave the world a warning. No, we're not sending troops. Look up. Here it comes. He was ruthless with the Taliban. He didn't just bend over and run. He crushed the ISIS caliphate. He demonstrated a consistent willingness to take out the bad guys. He stood up to China, used unpredictability, and that's the key. He was unpredictable. They didn't know what he would do, and that's what Putin didn't start this because he didn't have a clue. Nothing new here? Well, Everybody doesn't know these things, Joe. I wish they did. And I'm trying to help them. Uh, right now we've got propaganda flowing across your news feeds. Here's a picture. This is the escape from Kiev that was on Facebook recently. I didn't see the fact checkers do anything. And the picture is from the movie Deep Impact. The media has had a lot of practice with this kind of propaganda during the COVID thing. They said things, they pushed a single message across. COVID's going to kill you, got to get a vaccination. Well, all of a sudden, the CDC director says, well, COVID-19 vaccines will no longer prevent transmission. Duh, never did. To add insult to injury, talk about propaganda, we have the Russian army pushing into the Ukraine, Biden's climate envoy, John Kerry, that President Putin will help us stay on track with respect to what we need to do for the climate. Give me a break. That's what he's worried about? What about the people that are dying? Now we see pictures of little old ladies with AK-47s fighting for their homeland. Give me a break. First time a shell landed within 300 meters, she would need a change of undies. The picture of Zelensky in uniform was taken in 2021. The ghost of Kiev, bullshit. The men of Snake Island, well, they didn't die. They were all captured alive. And this is all part of the MO of a gentleman named Soros. I call him a gentleman. Putin is not. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
But let me interrupt you. You had mentioned about, there was some talk that Putin called Zelensky a Nazi, and what I found out on my own, and I saw some of your notes, that he has a brigade called Azov, and
yes.
they are neo-Nazis. So Putin wasn't too far off when he said that.
Yeah, the Azov Battalion is an extreme right-wing nationalist paramilitary organization based in the Ukraine, founded in 2014. The group promotes Ukrainian nationalism and neo-Nazism, and it's notable for its recruitment of far-right foreign fighters from the U.S. and Europe, as well as extensive. Greg, I did my homework. Okay, I did a great deal of Vinny has seen my notes. I did a great deal of research into all of this. The group came into prominence for fighting against Russian forces in Kiev. Is there something specifically that you disagree with that I'm saying? Because I'm listening, and if you know something that I don't know, okay, this is let me just say that I am still in touch with people in the higher up in the military and in the intelligence community, and this is the sidebar conversation. None of these guys are clean. Don't get me wrong. I'm not pulling for the Russians. As I said, I have no dog in this fight. But Zelensky is not the hero he is being portrayed as. I mean, Zelensky challenged and provoked Putin for many years, ever since he was installed by Soros, through a huge propaganda campaign. Now, there has always been a great deal of corruption in the Ukrainian government. But, you got to understand that Zelensky is a puppet of Soros. He's the front man. Also understand the mindset of Putin, who is a dictator and a tyrant. But how Zelensky challenged and provoked him for years now, ever since he was installed, provoked the Russian bear by sticking him repeatedly. Just 2 weeks ago, he said, we're going to buy nuclear weapons. We're going to fight Putin. And a State Department official said, in this country, said if Putin invades, he'll go home with body bags. This is not diplomacy.
No, not diplomacy at all.
Okay, so don't think that Zelensky is this big hero. Again, we can talk about. It's clear that Putin is not a globalist. He's a nationalist. He knows he doesn't have the economic strength or the military strength to try to gain massive power in the world. On the other hand, the two major globalist enterprises are those who participate in the United Nations global agenda and China. And that's what we have to watch.
Mr. Robert, let me interject. Somebody sent me a text earlier before we went on the air saying that Zelensky has a $35 million condominium in Florida and that he was running the war from a condominium in Florida when the Crimea War, and that his being in a uniform now it's a joke. I mean, he is trying to unify the country. I mean, he's doing it. As far as I'm concerned, he's doing what he has to do. But again, it's a lot of propaganda out there, and he's reportedly he's worth about $1 billion himself, and I'm sure that's part of Soros's money. And don't forget, the Ukrainian, when Biden was vice president, his son made a deal with the Ukrainians, and Biden admitted on tape, on video, that he had them fire the prosecutor on the Burisma case because he was going to withhold $1 billion in aid to Ukraine. And in spite of that, he still got elected. So I don't know that's.
Well, again, you got to look at the S man, Mr. Soros, who this is his MO. He spends tremendous amounts of money on propaganda and on buying officials. I hate to say it, but he has bought number of our intelligence officials. Okay, because I don't care. You're a good, upstanding, honest, great American. Here's a $2 million. Right now you're making $150,000 a year. Here's a couple of $1 million to just listen to what I have to say. It's really easy.
Let me interrupt again.
Sure.
All the district attorneys in some of the Democratic cities have been very leftist and very easy on criminals, and most of them, I don't know all of them, but most of them have been funded by Soros. They admit it. The guy, the district attorney in L.A., French name, Gossin. You got the guy in the San Francisco.
Yes.
Lets people rob unless it's over $100,000. If it's under $1,000, they can let them go. So what they're robbing $999. They don't get prosecuted.
And you hit 10 different stores, and you're doing okay.
But why is Soros doing it? Viva, how are you? Viva, another fan. It's all great to know. This is all great. So it's all bad things to know. Unfortunately, thank God that our guest tonight has a lot of former intelligence analyst, and he's got the connection to find out a lot of things that we don't find out on our own.
Well, you know,
this stuff you can't Google. I'm sorry. Let me continue, Mr. Roberts.
No, I was just going to comment about what you were saying, and we're talking about the intelligence agencies. Why do you think the former director of the intelligence agency for the United States got fired from Mr. Flynn because he knew too much? He knew what was going on. He is, I've known Mike for a number of years, and he is an American. He is a patriot. He loves this country. And they had to get him out of the way. He knows too much. Also think about it from the perspective of Soros. Okay. If you want to take over the world, what's the first thing you have to do? You have to destroy the strong guy on the block. And who is that?
Well, it was Donald Trump for a while.
Well, no, I'm talking about America.
Oh.
And that, we now have the highest murder rate in history. DAs that are not prosecuting. We are in serious economic difficulties. We're at $4 a gallon for gas right now, and that is going to go higher. And you know, talk about inflation. One of the things is that stuff travels by truck, and the truck has to put gas in their trucks, and they have to raise the prices. So we're looking at way more inflation. All of this is a plan. We know, if you look into it, that ownership of a number of these voting machine companies traces back to Soros. So if you're wondering how Biden got elected, that's part of the plan. This is a long, deep thing that's going on, and he is our enemy. He has got to get rid of us, or at least bring us to our knees before he's going to get what he wants, which is a global government. You know, and that's the sad part is that it's you know, we got a globalist puppet for Soros in the Ukraine that has been continually poking the bear to get this thing started. You know, I mean, Putin is an egomaniac. And you know, with any egomaniac, if you poke him, control the banks. Absolutely. No, he can't. You're Ellen, you're 100% right. This is not the war that's causing our gas prices to go up. This is the fact that we are no longer energy independent, and Soros doesn't want us energy independent because that makes us strong. If we're supplying the world with energy, then we are the boss. We're the guys. We are the dealer supplying the narcotic that keeps all the economies running. We closed down the pipeline from Canada. Now, Soros owns the trucks and the trains that would have been replaced by that pipeline, the Keystone Pipeline. Again, all of this, they're making it look like Zelensky and Putin. No, there is a much deeper. We talk about the deep state that's running this deal.
Let me interrupt you. We're going to have a commercial break. We have a couple of sponsors we want to give them
Yes.
Okay, Anthony.
Whatever it is, I'm buying 3.
Are you Medicare, Medicaid, Resource Center? Mark Turner, this guy's phenomenal. He does miracles. He's really good. And we have Cash for Cars of Staten Island. They buy cars, they sell them. Matter of fact, I bought my car from him. I got a good deal. And right now, it's hard to even buy a used car. There's not a lot of cars available. So, it is what it is. Of course, you could buy some of my books, Mr. Robert. Mafia Double Cross, interesting book, one of my best sellers. This is where the FBI and the Mafia go on vacation together, and terrorists take over the hotel. And I'm not going to say anything else. You make your own conclusion. Investigations After Dark, these are all sexy cases, divorce cases, sexual predators. We got all kinds of crazy stuff. Detective's Kitchen is recipes that I made from when I went to cooking school as a hobby. While we're on surveillance, I would cook one of the recipes from my school while the guys are out on the job. And then Rogue PI, it's about my high-profile cases. The cases about we worked on the Monica Lewinsky case. We worked on John F. Kennedy watch with Marilyn Monroe. Anthony Quinn divorce case, Fatal Attraction case, and Elton John's DNA. And then last but not least is my daughter's company, which used to be mine, Marco Associates. And my daughter is phenomenal. I don't know where she learned it from. I guess she learned it from me. She's good. She's good. She's a tough cookie, my daughter, tougher than me. And we're streaming on these platforms. Look, we're on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. We're going there. We're going places.
Vinny, I still have an autograph, and which I'm saving until I can get enough money for it on eBay, an autographed copy of How to Get Anything on Anybody.
My first book, yeah.
I've got that. And you talk about PI After Dark. I remember I helped you with a case with a cheating wife. And we trailed her and we filmed her, and she walked into a bar, and she was really friendly with the bartender, except that the bartender was a woman. So
kind of interesting. That's guys always like to see women together.
Well, that was an interesting case.
Want to see women. Okay, we stopped for our commercial break. Now you can continue on.
Okay.
And I got to say one thing. We're getting people to chime in, and they're questioning.
Yes.
And I like that. That's good. I want more people to do that, and go for it. Go for it.
Anybody out there, if you see something I've either missed or you think I'm incorrect, which happens on occasion, let us know. Just pop in there with it, because, and I will try to answer any questions. Anyhow, the bottom line on all of this is that we have got to stay out of this, because if we get into it and get involved, especially militarily, that plays right into Soros's hand, and that's what he is trying to ferment, is getting us to get in.
If there is if there's a military confrontation where NATO, the European Union, or the United States gets involved, do you think that they will use nuclear weapons, or they just use regular tactical weapons? I mean, let's face it. You got ballistic missiles, you got cruise missiles. They're dangerous enough. I mean, they cause a lot of destruction. I don't think that after somewhat of a skirmish, I don't think anybody's going to use a nuclear weapon, because then that's it. That's end the game for everybody. What do you think?
I agree with you. I doubt it, but I think it was Sun Tzu that said, "An evil leader will burn his nation to the ground so he can rule over the ashes."
Very prophetic.
Yes. So uh, and that is the fear, and there is also the fear of a miscalculation on one side or another that starts it, because all it needs is one to get launched, and they'll all start. And the other thing that we're not talking about, and is very much a part of all of this, is China, and starting with Taiwan.
Well, Ed Gianni has a very interesting Soros had power because he had anonymity. Now everyone knows, and yet we still blame him. He's not the only billionaire yet to even try to do anything. Ed, you're right. Soros is now he's in the limelight, and he's 89 years old. I don't know what his health is, but I don't think he's got much. But he's going to do as much as he can while he's on this earth. And if he has to scorch the earth, he will. What do you think about?
Well, as I said before, right now Soros is the front man for this cabal. Don't think that there aren't others that are behind him. I don't believe that he's the boss. I think that there is somebody or some people that are really behind it. Right now, he's the front man. Everybody can look at him, but who's behind it? Unknown. Okay, there are a lot of these billionaires that would love to see this globalism, so they would be a little round table that would run the world.
I have to disagree with that. When you have, here's my 2 cents. If you have a lot of money, what is left to get? Power. What how much can you spend? How many yachts can you make? How many 250-foot yachts can you buy? But you want power. You want some sort of power over the people. And I think you're right about that. I think that's what they get together and say, hey, we're worth, I don't know how many billions of dollars. Let's put it to work. Let's have the world in our hands.
Let's own it, and that is the deal. Do I think that China's going to go after Taiwan? Depends on what Biden does now. If Biden stays in office and shows the weakness he has shown, yeah, they will. They're waiting. They're sitting back. The one thing about the Chinese, some people, the Russians always had a 5-year plan. The Chinese have a 100-year plan. They don't rush. So they're sitting back and they're watching. They're testing. They flew some planes into Taiwan and got chased out, and etc. But what their end goal is, they're going to take Taiwan. Same thing. That's a nationalist thing. To them, Taiwan belongs to them. As far as somebody said something about the southern border, this is all part of taking the U.S. down. We are taking in how many millions of non-citizens and giving them everything. We're giving them things that we should be giving to our veterans who fought for us, who died for us. Ed, who is that? Tell me, if you can. Tell me about the round table that you're talking about.
Oh, the Chinese just put out a statement condemning Russia for invading a country, so they can't go after Taiwan now.
They don't consider Taiwan a country. They consider Taiwan part of China. And again, maybe not this year, maybe not next year. When they are ready and they see weakness, they will do it. This whole thing is going to end probably in, my guess is 6 to 8 weeks. There'll be an end to this whole Ukrainian thing. and we'll be on to a new news cycle. But the Chinese have a very long view. They may do it in 5 years, 10 years. They're in no hurry. They are going to do it. The question is when. Tell me about the round table. No, they consider the people of it says Russia doesn't consider Ukraine a country. They are part of Russia. Uh, uh, you are correct. They consider the Ukrainian people to be Russian people.
Yeah,
That
well,
that
the Chinese with the Taiwan. They say they're part of the China. Chinese is part of China.
they're part of China, and they'll do it again. Will we get Trump back? He's got so much baggage. Personally, I don't. I don't particularly care for Trump on a personal level. I think he's too boisterous, but he is a smart man, and he did wonderful things for this country, and he is a patriot. I don't care about personalities. I want the best, strongest leader we can get, and so I would vote for Trump in a heartbeat. He's a lot of baggage, though.
Let me interrupt you, Mr. Robert. I believe that everything that's going on now is going to have Trump reelected in no problem. So now they have a problem with trying to stop him from running in 2024. They have a situation where they have a man running the country now who has mental, it's just. I don't want to go into it. He's incompetent, put it that way. And then his vice president, Kamala Harris, is even worse than him.
Oh,
she is. You ever hear her talk? She talks like a child.
She's a joke. She's a joke. And the thing, that's the World Economic Forum that you were talking about. Yeah. But let me just say this: the problem they have with Trump, and this is why they worked so hard to impeach him, to throw him out, you can't buy him. Okay, Mr. Trump, I'll tell you what, we'll give you $200 million for doing something. Oh, wait a minute, that's chump change. We'll give you $1 billion, still chump change. You can't buy him. I don't think you could buy him for $20 billion.
Now, his ego is so big. His ego says, "I have to make America great again," and MAGA.
I agree with you.
And
so
that's his only goal. The same way Putin has. He wants to make Russia back to where it was. That's why I think the two of them kind of respected each other. They respect each other, and they also respect strength.
Well, he has
six missiles at a Syrian chemicals plant, letting everybody in the world know, hey, don't mess with us. ISIS. Look what he did to ISIS, the caliphate. He bombed the shit out of them. The Taliban didn't, for 1 year prior to the bungled withdrawal of Biden, there was one shot that nobody got killed. There was no violence because Trump told them, hey, I know where you live. He dropped that MOB, the mother of all bombs. That was a warning. That was a warning to them. Hey, meanwhile, it's the only one he had. But that's a warning. Hey, we're not going to don't mess with us.
And he killed that Iranian general. He dropped a missile on him. So yeah, that's the difficulty. And the thing that scares me the most is John F. Kennedy was one of our great presidents, a Democrat, but that's okay. I'll forgive him. But he was one of our great presidents, and he spoke out against the deep state. And what happened? They killed him. And his brother, who would have easily won the presidential election.
Got killed.
They killed him. Bush, on the other hand, got a retirement package. So that's where the danger is. I would love to see a ticket of DeSantis and Trump.
Oh,
okay.
I would like to see this Trump and Candace Owens. Very bright woman. And nowadays they want a woman in the White House also, even if it's only a vice president. But by the way, we didn't even mention Hillary Clinton. She's snaking her way into this whole thing.
Again, part of the Soros cabal. No question about it. As far as Candace Owens is concerned, I love her. Okay, but the reason I say DeSantis is he's got the balls to stand up to Congress. What he did in COVID in Florida was amazing.
Yeah, his credentials are impeccable. No one has credentials like him. I mean, unbelievable.
The two of them would be unstoppable, and we will bring this country back to the grandeur that it was, that it is, and that it deserves. And then DeSantis becomes president after that.
Yeah.
Can you imagine Camilla being president?
We'd have like what the Romans call Pax Romano, the peace. We'd have maybe 16 years of peace. I think when Trump was in power, he got a Muslim and Jewish and the Israel nation have what's that? Trump policies are real. His personality.
100%, Joe. 100%. I am right with you.
Yeah, we need a new champion.
Well, I think
this could be the champion.
I think DeSantis will end up that way if we can keep it going. I'll tell you. I was going to say, Joe Biden. To me, the only genius thing he did was bring Kamala Harris on as vice president. Who the hell would assassinate Biden if you had Kamala Harris going to take the right? I mean, that was his insurance policy.
I don't know. I think
I think
she's waiting for him to croak so she could take over and she'll really move this country.
Yeah, I mean, really.
You could claim that Biden is mentally incompetent or he's senile or dementia, whatever you want to say. But she's younger and she's just as bad, so she has no dementia. She's just stupid. How she became an attorney? How she became an attorney general? Well, we know Willie Brown put her there, but
well, Willie Brown put it someplace. But
yeah. Well, but even with those credentials that she has, making her bones in California on her knees. Trump and Nikki.
Nikki Haley. Yeah, I like Nikki Haley.
Yeah, she's sharp.
Let me just say this: that looking at somebody's sex or race or ethnic background or anything else is wrong for any job. And the American public, they want Candace would be great because she's a black woman, Nikki because she's a woman, but that is not criteria that should be considered. As a matter of fact, it's illegal to consider it.
Yeah, but these are women that are smart. They can handle almost any situation. That's what you want. You want somebody who can lead, not follow, but lead. Nikki Haley was a governor for I think 2 terms. She was very. Then she was then Nikki Haley was the ambassador to the United Nations.
And well, she was the governor of South Carolina.
Yeah.
But I like Nikki Haley too, and and either one of those women would certainly make great Department of State heads. Uh, you know, uh,
Ed Ciani says that the deep state is the Democrats. JFK was a Democrat. JFK was killed by the Republicans. You know what? I can't argue with you on that. He was killed because I believe, from all of what I've been reading all these years, especially being in law enforcement, is that he disrespected the mob with with Frank Sinatra, that story, and then Giancana got involved, and then
I have
killed. Giancana got killed. All the people around John F. Kennedy's assassination all got assassinated themselves. Jack Ruby.
yes, they were all knocked off. And something I want to say about that: Republican and Democrat, the deep state doesn't have that. They are not team players. They hire our congressmen. They hire our politicians. They back them, but they don't care. Republican, if you're going to mess with them, they don't care if you're a Republican. They don't care if you're a Democrat. They don't care if you're black, you're white, you're a woman, you're gay, whatever. That doesn't matter to them. The power is what matters. So I understand what you're saying. The deep state is not Democrat and it's not Republican. It is the deep state. That's why they're deep. They only have what's good for them. They want policies that are good for them, and whoever is passing those policies, they're happy. And exposing it. I mean, we currently have an FBI, a militarized, weaponized CIA and FBI. You can see the way things go. They don't get blamed for anything, but they go after parents that speak up at a school board meeting. Excuse me, what's wrong with this picture?
Yeah, that I think, but you know what I think? I think the American people in general are not stupid. There are some stupid people in this country, but I think in general, people are wising up to what's going on, especially the mothers. Look what happened in Virginia. Youngman was elected, and he appealed to the anti-CRT crowd. He appealed to the women and the men also who have kids in school. And Ellen said she would be insulted if she got a job because she was a Jew.
Absolutely.
Too, because I'm not Jewish. I don't know. But it just 100 years from now, we're going to have the same conversation. Well, we're around. Somebody's going to have the same conversation about what's going on then. History repeats itself, and we're just going to have this. It's human nature. The deep state are not going to play itself against itself, so they will go down on one side. They purposely wanted to put Nixon
in office. I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that. And what you said before about the banks, and of course Nixon was a jackass that took us off the gold standard to fiat money. We have monopoly money. We say it's worth something, but it's not worth anything.
He was a very paranoid individual. You know that.
Yes.
He was a partner in a law firm called Mudge and Rose, a huge white sugar law firm. And one of my clients rented their space at 45 Rockefeller Center. And he brought me into Nixon's old office. And in the office, he had an office within the office. And in that office, you could see what was left of all kinds of electronic equipment. He was totally paranoid. He was very paranoid. I think he was a good president, but he had his faults. He had his faults.
Between the Federal Reserve and taking us off the gold standard, he hurt this country. And part of the problems that we're having now is money that we spend. We owe China so much money. That's one reason that China would never attack us. It's like Joe the loan shark. He doesn't. He's not killing one of his customers.
Yeah, you never, you never beat up, you never kill a customer of a loan shark. You might tune them up a little bit, hey, remind
Right.
me, hey, but that's about it.
And that's the situation we find ourselves in now.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's part of the situation, and it all goes back. You say when you talk about.
We kind of got off the topic of Ukraine war. An American Margaret Thatcher. Oh, she was the Iron Maiden. Wow, had a lot of respect for her, Margaret Thatcher.
Yes.
Yeah, we don't have too many people like that anymore.
What a pair, her and Reagan.
We got a couple of minutes left. We have a little saying at the end of a podcast. What are you thankful for? What's the one thing you're thankful for?
I'll tell you what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful I was born in America. I thank God every day that I was born in this country.
That's very good. And I'm thankful for a wonderful family I have. We don't have a big family, but we have a couple in-laws. My sister married into a good family, and we have a couple weddings coming up with the nephews and nieces and like that. And I'm really excited about that. And we're going to be going to California for one wedding and Florida another wedding. And I just love my family and the in-laws and my cousins and how we interact with each other. And everybody, it's just so much love. It's unbelievable. And I'm really excited. And I want to thank all the people that tuned in tonight. I mean, I got to tell you, I've never had so many comments like we did tonight. And I want to thank our guests because you kind of fomented a lot of these comments, what you're saying. And I want to thank you for opening our eyes to a couple of things that we didn't know about. And I like the dialogue between some of our viewers and you. And I want to thank Anthony for being such a great director. He has to give me a little chat. He gives me little notes on the screen and tell me what to do. Tonight he didn't give me that many because I think I was following his script to the latter. And I want to thank a lot of people that watched it. And I want to thank our sponsors. We have more and more sponsors. We have more and more platforms for our. But I think we're doing something pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah. Yeah. I'm really excited. I'm ecstatic. And on Arthur Avenue in the Bronx, we have in Little Italy, we have a saying, "Sempre noi," which means always with us. I want to thank everybody for watching the show, and please subscribe to the subscription button. I want comments. Even when we're off the air, you can make comments on Facebook or YouTube. And I try to answer as many as I can. Sometimes I can't. Sometimes I can. Whatever. It's catch and catch can. And
I want to thank you for having me on. It was fun. I liked the interaction with your viewers. It was very good.
Thank you. It was good. And you were one of the best guests we've had. We've had some really good guests, but you were one of the most informed guests that we've ever had. And I hope I'd like to have you on again in the future. And I hope we have some more guests like you. Thank you.
Anytime.
Okay. Hey.